Hey everybody, this is David. Thanks for joining me back here at Paramotor Crazy. Today I'm going to talk about how I flew my paramotor and crashed it into the trees at that far end of the field. Stay tuned and watch this. Before I do show you how I crashed that paramotor into the tree, please go ahead, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. I'd love for you to watch all my videos. There's going to be a lot more paramotoring videos to come this year. And if you felt like at the end that you liked the video, or you learned something, or you learned what a new pilot can do when he doesn't take his time and when he doesn't properly warm up his motor, at that point maybe give me a thumbs up too. So September 11th, 2018, I finished my training, came back home to Cincinnati, and the next day my son and my wife wanted to see me fly. So I flew out of this elementary school yard here, and at that time I was flying from that side of the field toward this side. And as you can see, as I turn around, you can see that it's pretty wide open here. The parking lot, some trees up there, but starting at the other end of the field, which is about 600 feet that way, I had plenty of room to take off. Next day I flew out of some soccer fields, had a couple flights there. I'll tell you, those first few flights, they were kind of scary to watch, but when I was landing at the soccer fields, I was able to land exactly where I wanted to, so my confidence really built up. That Friday, my son says to me, "Hey Dad, you know, I'd really love to see you fly over the football game. We're going to the high school football game tonight. Do you think you could do it?" And I said, "Son, nothing would make me more happy than make you happy." So what did I do? I put the pressure on myself to fly down here and take off. Soccer fields were being occupied, so I had to take off from this little field. Now, as I was rushing to get everything set up, the most important thing I did wrong was not to properly warm up my motor. A lot of times when you're seeing foot launchers, you're seeing them with the motors on their back and they're properly warming up their motor. For trikers, we sit and hold that trike steady and warm it up, and really you should warm it up for 60 seconds, nothing less than that. I probably warmed it up for about 15 seconds, so I definitely did not warm up my motor properly. So, set up my wing, rushing myself, trying to not only get over there so my son could see me fly, but also to beat out the wind which was picking up and the sun that was starting to set. So now, after failed launch number one, I'm about 50 feet further down into the yard. I get myself all set up. I'm getting a little frustrated with myself, so now not only am I rushing myself and putting pressure on myself, I'm not thinking clearly either and making sure everything's done correctly. So get everything set up, ready to try again, and here's attempt number 2. Alright, so first of all, you can see here on the map where I started, where attempt number 1 took me, and then you can see where attempt number 2 took me. And so that's where I'm standing right now. This is about the spot where I was taking off for the 3rd time to try to get up over those trees and then a mile that way towards the high school to fly over the football game. And in a second you're going to see me flying the actual raw footage of the crash. So keep in mind a couple things. Number 1, I'm using an action camera at the time, and it wasn't very clear. Number 2, on the last attempt, one of the lines from my wing pushed the camera so it's kind of facing up. Not to mention I'm also looking up from my wing as well during takeoff. And as I'm coming over, and I'm going to kind of walk with the camera here, you can see in the distance there's some buses. And so as I'm flying, a couple things are crossing my mind. I'm realizing, because I have not warmed up my motor properly, that I'm not getting the lift that I need to clear these trees back here. So at that point I realized one of 2 things are going to happen. I'm either going to hit those buses and be on the nightly news on all 3 stations here in Cincinnati, or I'm going to fly into those trees. Guys, here's the raw footage of me flying into those trees. seeing here is me now stuck in the tree. Fortunately, my front axle went in between a couple of very thick branches and held me up. The only damage was the wing that was way up high that I had to pull down, and it got ripped in the process. In addition to that, my back right axle was bent. I had to replace the tire, and the webbing on my cage on a quarter of the panel got ripped. I was able to unbuckle my seat belt, climb out onto a very thick branch. I was holding on about 20 feet above ground. It's been 6 months since that happened, and my shoulder still hurts now from it. When I dropped down onto some soft ground. I was able to see the wing up there, as you can see in the video. So obviously there were some leaves on the trees back then, and then it's winter now, and this is the first time I've been back out here, but I was very, very fortunate that it didn't turn out a lot worse. I was also very fortunate that my son, who's in junior ROTC in Air Force, he and a couple of his buddies, along with his Chief Dylan is his name, they came out, and it was dark out. We had some flashlights out here, but we were able to get some ladders up there and some big straps, and we were able to bring the trike and the motor down unharmed for the most part. So I was very grateful that God was watching over me and keeping me safe. Anyhow, thanks for watching. You know, this was kind of embarrassing to show this. I didn't want to show it. I was really urged by some friends to put it out there. And at the end of the day, if, you know, even though it's embarrassing, if it helps somebody to think more wisely about not rushing themselves, taking their time to set up everything, making sure your motor's properly warmed up, and it keeps someone from, you know, getting their equipment damaged, injuring themselves, or even losing their life, then this was well worth it. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you subscribe to the channel. If you felt that this was worth it, please give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching, and be safe out there.